Part 2. So the Gracchi brothers, Tiberius Sempronius Gracchi, is assassinated because they do not want the plebeians to get back the land that they had, that they needed. And his brother Gaius Sempronius Gracchus takes up that fight. He subsidizes wheat for the people of Rome, and he is in his turn assassinated, or actually he jumps to his death in the river Tiber after he is besieged on the Aventine Hill. He had gone to take refuge, and the Senate, the patricians of the Senate, in a real end run, basically make a law that everybody has to kill Gaius. And that sort of sets up the situation with the triumph. Here we are, we're at 121 BC. So Julius Caesar takes power in 27 BC. So we're less than 100 years from the end of the Republic and the beginning of the empire, and all of the bloodbath that happens when Julius Caesar and the triumvirate take power, and there's all kinds of internal struggles between them, and eventually Caesar is assassinated, and then his nephew forms the second triumvirate, and they have their own internal issues, but before they really get started with those, they end up assassinating all of the people who were involved in the plot to assassinate Julius Caesar, which is a whole, that's next week. But the important leisure, the rise of a merchant class and middle class, it becomes very important and really become the purse string holders in a lot of ways for the empire later on. And the attempts at reform and how they were met, and how that ended 400 years of civil discourse in a way. That the Romans, up until that point, from 509, the beginning of the Republic, when they kicked out the last king, until this point when the Gracchi are assassinated, they were able to have very strong debates and very strong internal struggles, but they were able to do it in a way that didn't involve murdering one another in the streets. And that change is one of the things that you might be able to point to and think about as eventually bringing down the empire. Because if the people who come to power are people who are willing to come to power by unjust means, how are they going to exercise power rightly? We'll talk about the paper that you might think of today.